today, the 28th of July in the year 2026. Let's now take a look at the news headlines. ZCID condemns COPPERBELT political violence, urges leaders to honor peace pledge. MISA Zambia demands police bond for detained journalist MACPHERSON MUKUKA. LUSAKA households to pay 70 kwacha monthly under new sanitation initiative. In international news, Chad announces plans to withdraw from International Criminal Court. In sports news, Red Arrows signed DR Congo striker John PWETO in 3-year deal. Join us for these and many more stories after the break.
Voting is one of the few moments where we all have a voice.
One person, one vote.
No titles, no status.
Just a choice.
It's not about doing nothing.
It's about showing up.
Because your vote matters.
It's easy.
It's important.
It's ours.
Count me in.
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 Alini boss.
Before 2022, millions of Zambian children stayed home because school was unaffordable for many families. Today, things are much better. No more tuition fees, no more PTA fees, and no more examination fees. More than 2.5 million children are back in class across the country. Schools are feeding our children and classrooms are full again. And with the Enhanced Constituency Development Fund, more classrooms are being built, more desks are being made, more teachers are being hired. Because Bali cares. He has delivered this for all children across Zambia. Because free education is not just a policy. It is a promise to every Zambian child. A promise that poverty will not decide their future. A promise delivered. On the 13th of August 2026, vote for Hakainde Hichilema as President of the Republic of Zambia. And let's continue to move Zambia forward together.
Camnet TV main news now showing on the following platforms: Topstar Channel 106, streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and on the CanStream app. With the main news in detail, I'm Tapelo Joe Smata. The Zambia Center for Inter-Party Dialogue, ZCID, has condemned the recent political violence reported on the COPPERBELT, warning that continued clashes threaten Zambia's democratic gains ahead of the 13 August general elections. In a statement issued on Tuesday to Camnet News, ZCID board chairperson Ambassador Joyce Musenge said acts of political violence, intimidation, harassment, provocation, and property destruction have no place in a democratic society and must stop immediately. She said the organization was deeply concerned that campaign-related violence was undermining public confidence in the electoral process and creating fear among citizens and political actors. ZCID also welcomed the Zambia Police Service investigations into the reported disturbances, but urged law enforcement agencies to apply the law professionally, impartially, and consistently. The organization called on all political parties, presidential candidates, and their supporters to conduct campaigns peacefully, stressing that elections should provide citizens with a choice of ideas and leadership rather than fuel conflict.
The Zambia Center for Inter-Party Dialogue is deeply concerned by the recent incidents of political violence reported during campaign activities on the COPPERBELT province. These unfortunate incidents diminish the democratic values that Zambians have built over many years and threaten the peaceful electoral environment that our nation has consistently sought to uphold. ZCID condemns all forms of political violence, intimidation, harassment, provocation, destruction of property, and any attempt to prevent political actors or citizens from freely exercising their constitutional rights. Violence is incompatible with democracy. It silences dialogue breeds fear, erodes public confidence, and undermines the integrity of the electoral process. The report by the Zambia Police Service confirming arrests arising from campaign-related disturbances are a matter of serious concern. While investigations must be allowed to proceed without interference, ZCID urges the relevant authorities to ensure that the law is applied professionally, impartially, and consistently. Accountability must never be selective, for justice commands public confidence only when it is administered fairly and without regard to political affiliation. Political competition is the lifeblood of democracy. However, political opponents must never become enemies. Elections are intended to offer citizens a choice of ideas, policies, and leadership, not to create division, fear, or conflict.
The Media Institute of Southern Africa, MISA Zambia, has called on the Zambia Police Service to grant police bond to journalist MACPHERSON MUKUKA, arguing that he has met all the conditions required for his release. In a statement, MISA Zambia chairperson Lorraine Mwanza Chisanga said MUKUKA has remained in detention at Kabwata Police Station in Lusaka since July 17, 2026, despite providing sureties and fulfilling all the requirements for police bond. Mrs. Sanga said the offense for which MUKUKA is being held is bailable and questioned the continued detention after the bond conditions had reportedly been satisfied. She stressed that police bond exists to ensure that arrest and detention do not become a form of punishment before a court determines the suspect's guilt or innocence. MISA Zambia said granting police bond would allow the justice process to continue while safeguarding the constitutional rights of the suspect. The media rights body has since appealed to the relevant authorities to facilitate MUKUKA's release on police bond in accordance with the law.
MISA Zambia is calling on relevant authorities to grant MACPHERSON MUKUKA police bond. MUKUKA has been in detention since 17th July 2026. Despite providing sureties and meeting all police bond requirements, the journalist continues to be in detention over a bondable offense at Kabwata Police Station in Lusaka. Police bond exists because arrest and detention are not supposed to become punishment before a person has been convicted. It allows the justice system to continue its work while respecting the suspect's right.
The Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company, LWSC, has launched a scheduled toilet emptying pilot program that will allow households in George, Chawama, and Kanyama to access regular sanitation services through affordable monthly contributions of 70 kwacha. The utility company has already begun community sensitization and household registration for the initiative, which forms part of its citywide inclusive sanitation program. The pilot aims to ensure residents using pit latrines, septic tanks, and sewer systems have access to safe and sustainable sanitation services. The company said many households currently wait until toilets are full before requesting emptying services, a practice that often causes delays, overflowing sanitation facilities, environmental pollution, and increased public health risks. Under the new program, households will spread the cost of toilet emptying through monthly payments while ensuring their facilities are serviced before they become a health hazard. The utility company manager for peri-urban and rural water supply and sanitation, Wanzi Piri, said the program marks a shift from emergency sanitation responses to preventive service delivery. He said the initiative will help prevent overflowing toilets, protect groundwater, reduce the spread of waterborne diseases such as cholera, and contribute to cleaner and healthier communities.
The pilot is about helping households stay ahead of sanitation challenges instead of reacting when toilets are already full. By contributing just 70 kwacha per month, participating households can spread the cost of toilet emptying while ensuring their facilities are serviced before they become a health risk. This approach will help prevent overflowing toilets, protect groundwater, reduce the spread of waterborne diseases such as cholera, and contribute to cleaner, healthier communities. We encourage all eligible households in George, Chawama, and Kanyama to register and take advantage of this service as we work towards achieving citywide inclusive sanitation for all residents of Lusaka.
Transparency International Zambia, TIZ, has urged the Electoral Commission of Zambia, ECZ, to address growing public concerns over the alleged collection of voters' card numbers and national registration card (NRC) details by political actors, warning that the practice could undermine confidence in the August 18 general elections. In its fifth elections project update released on Tuesday, TIZ said its election monitors had received reports alleging that members of the ruling United Party for National Development, UPND, were collecting voters' card numbers and NRC details in several districts, including Wangeni, Zambezi, Mwinilunga, Mansa, Monze, and Kasama. The organization said it was continuing to verify the reports. TIZ said the reported practice had raised concerns among citizens about the purpose of collecting such information and warned that any perception that votes could be tracked or linked to personal details risked weakening public trust in the electoral process. It also said the collection of personal information during campaigns raised issues relating to privacy, informed consent, and data protection. The organization called on all political parties to respect citizens' right to vote freely and independently by avoiding practices that could intimidate voters or create uncertainty about the secrecy of the ballot. It also urged the ECZ to intensify public education on ballot secrecy and provide regular updates to address misconceptions surrounding the electoral process.
The issues that we raise in these updates are informed by what our monitors deployed across all 10 provinces are observing on a day-to-day basis. In bringing these issues to the fore, our intention is to contribute to the promotion of transparency and accountability in the electoral process and ultimately help to increase public confidence in the process. For today's updates, the three issues that we are focusing on are the alleged collection of voters' cards numbers and national registration card details by political actors, a reminder to electoral stakeholders of the commitments they voluntarily made at the 2025 Zambia Anti-Corruption Conference, and the need for political campaigns to remain honest, realistic, and centered on policy proposals rather than unrealistic promises. We go to the first issue. TIZ election monitors have received reports alleging that members of the United Party for National Development, UPND, have been collecting voters' card numbers and national registration card details from members of the public in Lwangeni district in Eastern Province, Zambezi and Mwinilunga districts in Northwestern Province, Mansa district in Luapula Province, Monze district in Southern Province, and Kasama district in Northern Province, among other locations. While TIZ continues to monitor and verify these reports, the practice in the districts where it has been observed has generated concern among citizens regarding the purpose for which this information is being collected. The secrecy of the ballot is one of the cornerstones of any democratic election. Therefore, any practice that creates the perception that a person's vote can be tracked, can be monitored, or can be linked to information that is being collected by political actors has the potential to undermine public confidence in the entirety of the electoral process. Beyond electoral integrity, the collection of personal information during campaigns also raises important questions regarding privacy, informed consent, and the protection of citizens' personal data.
The United Church of Zambia, UCZ, has urged church workers to reject division, personal ambition and tribalism as the church seeks to renew its mission under the 2026 theme, Changing the Narrative. Speaking at the 2026 UCZ National Church Workers Symposium in Lusaka, UCZ Synod Bishop Reverend Festus Chulu called on the church workers to embrace renewal, reconciliation, and a deeper commitment to God's mission, describing the symposium as a defining moment for reflection, transformation, and spiritual growth. Reverend Chulu said changing the narrative of the church is a shared responsibility that requires the active participation of every believer, not just church leaders. He urged church workers to remain faithful to their calling and avoid attitudes that weaken the church's witness, including jealousy, malice, propaganda, tribalism, unhealthy competition, and divisions. The Synod Bishop said such practices distract the church from its mission and hinder its ability to serve God's people effectively. Reverend Chulu challenged church leaders and members to unite in purpose, serve selflessly, and work together to rewrite the church story in line with the 2026 theme drawn from Isaiah 43 verse 19. He encouraged them to let go of past disappointments, conflicts, and personal burdens that stand in the way of progress.
Above all, it must be written on the redeeming power of Christ himself, who called each one of us. The ministry entrusted to us demands resilience, especially when the journey is difficult, determination when the path is uncertain, an unwavering focus on our heavenly calling, which we received from Christ himself. Yes, for sure, the church does not advance because circumstances are favorable. The church advances because God's people remain faithful. Therefore, as we begin this symposium, I pray to God that this will not only simply be a gathering where we are going to increase our knowledge, but I pray that may this time together in this place, may it be a time when our vision will be renewed. May this time be a time when our calling will be strengthened. I pray that may this time restore our joy in ministry. There are times, for sure, when we feel weary along the way. And maybe some of us are already discouraged and we feel like giving up. My prayer for you is that during this symposium, may God give you the strength. May God restore the joy of your ministry. May God also reignite the passion to serve the Lord. Remember, what we are today is what we wanted to become. Servants of our Lord Jesus Christ. May this symposium deepen our commitment.
Zambia Sugar PLC has graduated 13 women from the 5th cohort of the Women in the Boardroom program as the company intensifies efforts to prepare more female leaders for strategic roles. The 6-month program, delivered by When Females Lead in partnership with the Institute of Directors Zambia, equips participants with skills in corporate governance, board dynamics, risk management, strategy, finance, environmental, social, and governance principles, and effective leadership. Zambia Sugar Human Resources Director Sharon Lima said the company sponsored the women as part of its commitment to developing inclusive, capable, and future-ready leaders. Speaking at the graduation ceremony, Ms. Lima, accompanied by Safety Director Priscilla Msiska, urged the graduates to remain authentic as they advance in their leadership journeys. She said the women would return to their respective teams with enhanced governance knowledge, broader strategic perspectives, and renewed commitment to their work. Ms. Lima also encouraged the graduates to share their experiences through coaching and mentorship programs, particularly with employees in first-line management, to help build a stronger leadership pipeline within the organization. She commended the program conveners for creating a platform that empowers women to take up strategic leadership responsibilities. Ms. Lima reaffirmed Zambia Sugar's commitment to investing in diverse leadership talent and creating opportunities for women to grow beyond their functional roles. The graduates drawn from various departments are Carol Pendwe, Nyondwa Chimai, Bwalya Sampa, Suilanji Chimuka, Namaya Muyenga, Mebo Kapenda, Catherine Simukonda, Zilase Banda, Kawungo Chihili, Siwongile Hamusonde, Phyllis Mumba, Margaret Aliba, and Benis Banda. Moving on in the news, Organized People's Party OPP President Dr. Brian Mushimba has unveiled a climate-smart agriculture program, saying it will create more than 4 million jobs in 5 years by expanding commercial farming and strengthening value chains. Dr. Mushimba said agriculture would form the backbone of the OPP's economic agenda because job creation begins with food security, although climate change continues to threaten agricultural production. He said the party's proposed agricultural revolution would integrate climate mitigation measures from the outset to protect farmers from erratic weather patterns. Dr. Mushimba said an OPP government would support 10,000 medium-scale maize farmers with 100 hectares each, creating an estimated 500,000 jobs while boosting national food security and expanding opportunities in mining, agro-processing, and biofuel production. He said the program would prioritize irrigation and mechanization to reduce reliance on rainfall and improve productivity. Turning to cotton production, Dr. Mushimba said the OPP would support 500,000 small-scale farmers with 1 hectare each to revive textile and ginning industries.
We are proposing a revolution around agriculture and industrialization under the OPP government. We are of the view that the agricultural revolution is going to create the raw materials we need as well as the food security that we desire as a country. And the raw materials then will be used in the secondary industries when we start adding value to the agricultural products, including, from maize and cassava, for example, the biofuels that we're going to be able to make. When we do this, the way government is envisioning organizing this, organizing the people, promoting them, giving them capital to do this, and working with government, the 4 million jobs minimum in the first 5 years of our administration will be achieved.
The Electoral Commission of Zambia, ECZ, has urged young people in Mongu district to reject political violence and uphold peace during campaigns and the forthcoming general election. The appeal came during youth conferences held at Kambule Technical STEM Secondary School, where more than 60 youths drawn from political parties, civil society organizations, and churches gathered to discuss peaceful participation in the electoral process. Provincial Electoral Officer Nixon Nkwapu called on the youths to exercise maximum restraint and avoid acts of violence, hate speech, insults, and intimidation before, during, and after the elections. Mr. Nkwapu encouraged eligible young people to turn out in large numbers and exercise their democratic right to vote peacefully, stressing that peaceful elections depend on responsible conduct by all stakeholders, particularly the youth. Meanwhile, speaking on behalf of the participants, Ishmael Senda urged fellow youths across Western Province to comply with the electoral process and resist being used as instruments of political violence. Mr. Senda said young people have the responsibility to promote peace and contribute to a credible electoral process by rejecting actions that could undermine democracy and national unity. Our reporter in Western Province, Kelvin Kabilam-Siebo, filed in this report.
As general election 2026 is streaming closer, there is need to educate the youths on their role they can play in electoral process. In Mungu, the Electoral Commission of Zambia conducted a youth conference at Kambule STEM School, where more than 60 youths and other stakeholders attended with the aim to highlight the electoral process and the code of conduct. Speaking during the one-day youth conference, Western Province Provincial Electoral Officer Nixon Kwapo has appealed to the youths not to involve themselves in violence during and after the election, and they should turn up in big numbers on the voting day to exercise their rights.
The youth of Zambia, make up more than half of the registered voters on our current register of voters, which has over 8 million people. Therefore, it is important that you understand your relevance in the conduct of a successful electoral process. Therefore, your active participation in the democratic process can help promote and enhance democracy in the nation as a whole. Young people who can speak to other young people about the operations of the Commission and the electoral process in general, and more specifically about the need to refrain from violence, hate speech, insults, and intimidation. I therefore appeal to those of you who are registered as voters to ensure that you turn up to vote during the forthcoming 2026 general election.
Center for Democratic Governance and Research Executive Director Prince Mayamba says engaging young people in electoral processes will reduce political violence.
The Electoral Commission of Zambia thought of coming with what we call the youth conference to engage the young people so that they can engage their fellow young people when they go back into their respective places about the importance of participating in election, voting, and also to reduce the political violence that usually are characterized by elections. When you engage the young people, it means that they are going to engage their fellow young people, and we are going to have reduced political violence in the society and the communities.
Some participants spoken to have urged other youths not to engage themselves into political violence in order to have a free and fair election.
So we encourage gonizwa nina nilu tabana babo wanakulilindwa akintu etusa lusana kweza supportive yakuli my election yabanokubanye free and fair.
How best as youths can avoid being involved in political violence so that we can have free and fair, credible elections.
Kelvin Kabilam-Siebo, Camnet News in Mungu District, Western Province.
Kelvin Musiebo Kabila with that particular report that takes us to our first set of commercials. But do join us for international and sports news when we come back. Stay tuned.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our ZESCO units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962 642 490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
It's morning again in Zambia. Today, millions of our children will go to school more than ever before in the history of our country, because free education is opening doors that were once closed. Today, with over 40 million kwacha to spend, communities will build clinics, improve schools, drill boreholes, and transform lives using the increased CDF. Men and women will walk through markets and stations freely, without fear or intimidation from cadres. But the journey is not over, and we still have more work to do.
We've started the change. Now let's finish the job. On the 13th of August 2026, vote for Hakainde Hichilema as President of the Republic of Zambia. And let us continue to move Zambia forward together.
Enjoy the benefits of an instant loan with us ranging from 1,000 kwacha to 750,000 kwacha paid express once collateral is viewed, valued and verified. Call us on 0763 595 359 or 0779 432 993. Classified Financial Express, here as your financial friend.
Every celebration, there's a simple choice being made. To belong, count me in. In moments of love and promises for tomorrow, count me in. At the checkout line, in the middle of an ordinary day, a reminder that every number matters. Count me in. Across our communities, our streets, the same message finds us. Count me in. From the everyday worker to the hands shaping our future every day, the call is the same. Count me in. Around the traditions that bring us together, the message becomes impossible to ignore. Count me in. This election season, your vote counts. Get your NRC and voters card ready. Count me in.
Welcome back to the Camnet News Desk, and now in international news. Another blow to the International Criminal Court, ICC, as Chad says it will join Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger and Venezuela in starting the process of quitting the tribunal. In a statement on Monday, the government said ICC's effectiveness is limited and uneven and accused the Hague-based institution of focusing on African countries. The announcement comes amid allegations of Chad's suspected involvement in the war in neighboring Sudan between the army and paramilitaries. Last week, the Chadian Foreign Minister's Facebook page said the U.S. had pressured Djamena to reconsider its ICC membership. But the minister later denied the U.S. was behind the withdrawal. Rather, Chad no longer felt in step with the court as it currently operates, he said on Monday. The ICC prosecutes individuals for war crimes and crimes against humanity. Earlier this month, the U.S. said it was launching a campaign against the court, saying it posed an intolerable threat to its sovereignty. Here's a roundup of international stories courtesy of Africa News.
Another blow to the International Criminal Court as Chad says it will join Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger and Venezuela in starting the process of quitting the tribunal. In a statement on Monday, the government said the ICC's effectiveness is limited and uneven. It accused the Hague-based institution of focusing on African countries. The announcement comes amid allegations of Chad's suspected involvement in the war in neighbouring Sudan between the army and paramilitaries. Last week, the Chadian Foreign Minister's Facebook page said the US had pressured N'Djamena to reconsider its ICC membership, but the minister later denied the US was behind the withdrawal. Rather, Chad no longer felt in step with the court as it currently operates, he said on Monday. The ICC prosecutes individuals for war crimes and crimes against humanity. Earlier this month, the US said it was launching a campaign against the court, saying it posed an intolerable threat to US sovereignty.
A Guinean court has acquitted a police colonel charged over the 2009 stadium massacre, a ruling that is expected to reignite debates over accountability for one of the country's darkest chapters. Colonel Bienvenu Lama, a military police officer who had been in custody since November 2022, was cleared of charges including complicity in abuse of authority, murder, abduction, and unlawful detention. The court ordered his immediate release. Prosecutors had sought a 10-year prison sentence, while lawyers representing victims said they would appeal the verdict. The September 28, 2009 crackdown took place when security forces stormed an opposition rally at a stadium in the capital, Conakry. A United Nations mandated commission of inquiry found that at least 156 people were killed, hundreds were injured, and more than 100 women were raped. Human rights groups say the true death toll was likely much higher.
Iran on Monday had scathing words for Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky after he announced that Kyiv had struck vessels linked to Iran in the Caspian Sea. According to Tehran, the strike killed a sailor. Iran's foreign ministry spokesperson was among those to criticize Zelensky. The Ukrainian president's behavior is reminiscent of the anarchists who, on the eve of the First World War, carried out theatrical yet highly dangerous acts whose consequences eventually engulfed all of Europe. There's no guarantee that a dramatic gesture intended to attract attention and assert one's position in the international arena, where that position is not particularly strong, will remain limited in scope. The consequences both for Ukraine and the entire region drawn into this conflict could be unpredictable. The spokesperson added that the Strait of Hormuz, a vital oil shipping lane, remains shut in spite of a lull in attacks between the US and Iran. I emphasize that the situation in the Strait of Hormuz has not changed at all. It's still closed because of acts of aggression by the US and the lack of security imposed by America on the region. After almost 2 weeks of intensifying strikes, the US has paused its attacks in Iran, while diplomatic endeavours are underway to prevent a return to full-scale conflict.
And finally, in sports news this evening, Red Arrows Football Club have strengthened their attack by signing highly rated Congolese striker John PWETO Kanyembo on a 3-year contract ahead of the new season. The 2026 Absa Cup champions and Super League runners-up secured the services of the 20-year-old forward from FC Saint-Paris following an impressive spell with Congolese giants FC Saint Eloi Lupopo. PWETO scored 14 goals last season, establishing himself as one of the leaner foot's most promising young strikers through his physical strength, aerial ability, and clinical finishing. His performances earned him call-ups to the DR Congo Chan national team and the country's under-20 side, further cementing his reputation as one of the nation's brightest attacking prospects. The towering striker also gained valuable continental experience with FC Saint Eloi Lupopo in the CAF Champions League, where he featured against African heavyweights Esperance de Tunis and Orlando Pirates. Red Arrows believe PWETO's commanding presence in the penalty area, relentless work rate and eye for goal will add firepower to the team's front line as they prepare for the upcoming campaign. The airmen will hope their latest signing helps drive another challenge for domestic owners while strengthening the squad for continental competition. And that sporting item brings us to the end of this edition of May News on Camnet TV. But before we go, a recap of stories that made headlines. ZCID condemns COPPERBELT violence, urges leaders to honor peace pledge. MISA Zambia demands police bond for detained journalist MUKUKA. LUSAKA households pay 70 kwacha monthly under new sanitation initiative. Our international headline, Chad announces plans to withdraw from International Criminal Court. Our sports headline, Red Arrows signed DR Congo striker John PWETO on 3-year deal. We now look at the Camnet verse for the day coming from the book of Psalm 107 verse 1. It reads, "All give thanks unto the Lord, for he is good, for his mercy endureth forever." That ends the Bible reading, and that concludes this edition of May News on Camnet TV. But dear viewer, like always, be reminded that Camnet TV is not just another channel. Now showing on Topstar channel 106, streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and on the Kenstream app. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Tapelo Joe Smata. Good evening and God bless.